Hey guys, this is SMS from Cypher Days, and today I'll be bringing you a deck profile from a Nisekoi build. I played this at my nationals, and I went 4-1 in Swiss. Sadly, I didn't get enough points to get to the top 8, but I really liked how the deck played, and it is quality roller, so it isn't easy to play. Since Nisekoi is a pretty popular set already, I believe most, if not everyone, already knows what most of the cards in the set do. So I will be skimming through the cards as I'm going through them. But I will leave effects here in post-production for those that don't know. But I will focus more on, I guess, why I'm running this amount of cards, or why I'm running this card over this card, for example, if it ever comes up. So let's get on with the deck profile. So starting off at level 0, I'm running 2 of the Chitoge. Wonderless of the character, 3-5 hand encore, standard level 0 beat stick. That's really all that you need and or want from her, usually. Next, 2 of the Smarkas. She's alone, she's 4k, startup, pay 1 draw and discard 1. Since I'm not running any Suiciders in the deck, these 2 are the main beat sticks that you want to have at level 0 so that you can establish presence. She also has the second use in the late game to cycle through your hand, to hand fix, discard climaxes, draw stuff that you need, hopefully. Maybe even like use her to like pay out climaxes stuck in your stock, if ever. So yeah, really good card. Next, I'm running 2 of the Kosakis. I really like this card. The condition isn't super hard to hit, especially at level 0, maybe even level 1. But since the deck doesn't have that many ways of gaining power, usually your Marika's at only like 6-5, even after playing a climax. So she can help your Marika's reach 8k, which in the English meta is pretty decent, but mostly she's just here to fix for green, since I'm not running that many green cards in the deck. Next, I'm running 2 of the Kosakis. On your opponent's turn, she becomes 3-5 usually at level 0, unless they commit to like almost a full board. And then late game, she becomes a pay 1 searcher if you have like 2 or more pendants in your memory. You can use her to like grab one of your finishers, grab one of your level 3s, your free fresh, any other utility that you need in the late game. So she's very useful. I wish I could play more of her, but 2 is usually a good number. And then 2 of the Brainstorm, standard Brainstorm, pay 1, rest 2, search for each climax that you hit. I wish I played a 3rd, but I only have 2, but 2 is a good number in itself anyways. Next, one of this Chitoge, 500 in front, and then actability, you can choose a pendant from your memory, send it to waiting room, give one of your characters 1k 1 soul. This is actually one of the MVPs of the deck during my nationals run. Being able to give one of your characters a soul from her effect, assuming you have something in your a pendant in your memory, which you should, is really powerful. It allows you to side for precise damage, or maybe even like push for damage if you need to. And then since I'm also running like the GB Marikas and the Raku, you can cycle through your pendants a lot, and you can just gain so much value off of being able to reuse the pendants themselves. So I wish I played more of her, but I only have 1, so I'm kind of sad. Next, I'm running 1 of this Marika. On play, top check, you can keep it there or put it in the waiting room, and then you can discard a climax to salvage a character. Easily one of my favorite cards ever in Weiss. Being able to top check and then being able to like discard like an extra climax in your hand to grab whatever you need in your waiting room is super powerful. I wish I had played more, but I only have 1, so sad times, but really good card, very powerful card. You should definitely run at least 2 of her, maybe even 3 if you have it. And as for my pendant grabbers, I'm running 3 of the GB Marika and then 1 of the Raku. Oops, let me move these over. The Marika, Marika's effect, on plate, top check, and then pay 1, grab a pendant. As for Raku, he is a global 5 to all to all keys, and then on play you can discard a card to grab your pendant from the waiting room. Personally, I prefer using the Marika more than the Raku, because besides her replacing herself in your hand with a pendant, you don't have a lot of ways to pay stock at level 0, maybe even level 1. So if a climax is stuck in your stock, usually you can count on her to be able to get it out, because you're also paying 1 for your pendants. But I also like the Raku. I just personally prefer playing the Marika more than the Raku, since usually I don't have anything to discard. I don't want to discard anything unless it's like a climax. So in that case, yeah, the Raku is good, but I personally prefer playing the Marika more, since she allows you to keep your hand size more. Those are all my level 0s. I believe I'm running 16, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 16, 16. And onto level 1. For level 1s, I'm playing 4 pendants, 3 yellow, 1 red. The yellow pendant's main reason why I wanted to play yellow in the first place, because the other pendants have like some sort of condition for you to be able to play them. Like the red one requires you to tap 2, and then that immediately shuts off your brainstorms unless you have like an extra characters to tap with. Whereas the yellow one, you just play it as is. You can grab whatever you need from your deck, your Suiciders, your Beat Sticks, your level 3s. So it's just a very powerful card. That's why I'm playing yellow. Next I'm playing 2 of this Marika. Climax combo with the gate. When she reverses something with this in play, you can salvage 1. With so many ways to be able to keep your hand size, like your pendants, your brainstorms, you don't have to worry. You don't have to rely on her as much. Getting her off is like icing on the cake. But since she is only 6k before assists, typically won't be reverses something unless they're just naturally small, or or opponent left like a stray level 0 that you can reverse. But yeah, I would play a 3rd if I had a 3rd, but 2 is fine. 2 is really all that you ever need. Next, I'm playing 3 of this. Any pendant in memory, she becomes a Suicider. On play, reveal top. If it's a character, discard. Add to hand, discard 1. Very useful throughout the entire game. Level 1, you can use her to break walls. Level 2 onwards, you can use her to like kill whatever level 1 or 0 that they kept up. Or you can use her to like discard stuff or hand fix. So just a really powerful card that I probably should be running 4 of, but I only have 3, so that's how much I can do. Next I'm running 2 of the Chitoge. If you have any pendant in memory, she becomes 6/5 for free, which is really good. But since I only have 2, I am playing this to help compensate for that. This is from the TD, although I believe this also exists in the booster. She becomes a 6k on your turn, so she is a pseudo weekend date. But easily, if I had more copies of this, it looked like this. But since I only have 2 of the weekend date, I'm playing these to help raise my yellow count. And that she's also a beat stick on your turn, so it's not all that bad. Lastly, for level 1, I'm playing 1 of this Chitoge. She is a global 5 to all key characters, and then if you have 2 pendants in memory, she becomes a 500 in front assist. I wanted to play like some sort of level assist in the deck, but because I didn't want to pay one for like an extra maybe 500 power, that since that probably won't see much use because the deck doesn't really care much about power, and decided to try and tech one of this. I never played her in the tournament. Although I did hold on to her a couple of times, I never found myself using her all that much because my back row is usually occupied by the brainstorms or like the Chitoge assist. But she was there if I needed to, if I needed her. But I could probably take her out for something else, like a backup or something. But yeah, those are all my level 1s. That's 4, 6, 9, 11, 13, 14. 14 level 1s, which is a lot actually. Level 2 is pretty small. Playing 2 of this refresh. I'm playing 2 specifically because I'm only playing one of the red pendants, so I don't have that many ways of getting it out of my waiting room if she ever hits it. So I'm playing 2 so that when I refresh the first time, hopefully the second copy is in the waiting room so that it's in my deck, so that if I have like a brainstorm, so if I use a brainstorm, if I play like a yellow pendant, I can grab it and then I can hold on to it for my level 2 for my next refresh. But you can probably get away with 1, but for safety I played the second copy. But if ever, you can always just play 1 of her. Next, playing 1 of this Chitoge. She's a 2/5 backup, but she also has the effect of when you use her backup, you can pay 2 second character to kill an early play on your opponent's side. Very useful card, very powerful card. I'm pretty sure like almost everyone knows what she does by now and what the uses are, so I won't delve too much into it. Lastly, I'm playing 2 of these punches. 3K punch, pay to discard 1 to change it to this. I'll discuss what this does when I go to level 3. But those are all my level 2s, very small, very standard 5 level 2s. On to level 3s. I'm playing 3 of this Kosaki's. On play from hand or change, you heal 1. On play from hand, you must tap a character, and then climax combo with the gold bar, search 2 on attack. She's a very powerful card. In the tournament, I never actually found myself using her because at level 2, I never actually had the green because I prioritized having the blue for the refresh. But at level 3, I usually like hold on to an extra green so that I can clock it for her. And then usually I won't heal the first time so that I'll still have the greens to play like the climax or like an extra copy of her if need be. Yeah, she's a very good card. Main reason why I wanted to play green in the first place. Next, 2 of this Kosaki. Your other early play sort of 6 or more climaxes in waiting room, you -1 level, draw to discard 1 on play, and then 10-5 with 2 more other characters. I never actually played her that much. I think I played her once in the entire tournament because I never found myself wanting to never found myself either holding onto her or having the stock to spare for her because I typically reserve my stock for this. But she's just there if you need be. Hitting the early pick condition is not super hard, but you'd rather hold on to that stock for one of these other two cards, like this one. The only finisher in the deck, on play, reveal top. If it's a character, your opponent burns 1, and then when something else dies, you can give a character 1k. Not very much I can say. She's nowhere near as good as the Japanese marker, that's for sure. But she is a good card. She is the only finisher that Nisekoi has that's not tied to a climax combo. So she still is a good card. You typically want to hold on to both of them, and then like one of your top checks. Where is it? Like this. so that you can guarantee the burn. But usually if you're keeping track of your deck, you don't have to, you can just play her as is, and then hopefully you don't hit like a climax or like one of your pendants. But if you're keeping track, you should never hit like one of those. For climaxes, 4 gates, 4 gold bars, pretty much I can say that's a deck. I will now go into how I play the deck level by level. Level 0 is pretty standard. You just play like one of these two turn 1, and then hopefully your opponent can't get them off the field, so that they can just keep punching their stuff, so that you can keep their board. And then your back rows usually something like this. The Brainstorm's a staple back row. This other card can be anything. This can be your Rakus, your Markas. Usually just want the Brainstorm there, and then this can be anything, because as I mentioned earlier, the deck doesn't really care much about power, because it just doesn't get that high without committing something. So again, this could be anything. And then if you discarded like a pendant early on, or you canceled with one, in your damage, you can start grabbing them with your Markas or your Rakus. But typically this is your level 0 board. Then going into level 1, usually you want to level either a red card or a yellow card, since as shown earlier, these are your main 2 colors. As for which one you're leveling, it usually depends on what you have in your hand. Like let's say you have like a lot of reds in your hand, you can level the yellow and then clock a red. But usually these are the main 2 colors that you want to have in your level and clock zone at level 1, so that your pendants now they become online, and then you want like 1 or 2 of them in your memory already. These become online, and hopefully you were able to reverse something with this, with the climax. If not, beat them with more Suiciders. Then when you play like your pendants, usually just grab more copies of these or this. If ever, you can always like grab one of your free freshes as you're using climax combos or gates. At level 2, you want to be able to level up the other colors you didn't have. So at level 2, you want yellow and red in your level zone. And then usually I hold on to 1 blue so that I can play the free fresh. Usually being able to hold onto a blue is not that much of a problem, because as mentioned, you have like a lot of ways to be able to grab one. You can grab one with the pendants, you can grab it with your Brainstorms, you can grab it with your gates. So, but typically level 2, your main goal is to be able to play your free fresh, so that you can get so much value out of it, just from being able to play that for 1 stock. And then if you can somehow get the early play off, that's nice. But usually I never play her at level 2, just because she decompresses you for like an extra card, I guess, in your hand. I'd rather keep the stock and just play like the free fresh if need be. An option that you can do at level 2 is, I guess, usually after free freshing, you can play your backup, and then you can change into the level 3. I never actually played that. I never with how I play the deck, I never found myself using the change that much at level 2, just because I never had the greens. But it is an option that you can do if you don't have like the free fresh, if you don't have like the blue for the free fresh, but you have the green in your level. So it is an option. And then at level 3, Usually you'll level like blue or green, and then I'll hold like one of the other colors, and then I'll clock that, for example. Level 3, usually you just play like your Kosaki's, you heal, and then you play your climaxes, you search for stuff, and then when they get into lethal range, you can play your Marcas, and then hopefully they die from either the burns or you fronting them for like 2 or something, maybe even crashing for 1 if you like move this up. So although the deck is quad color, it still is pretty standard, I suppose. There still is like a clear-cut plan for the deck. Like at level 0, you set up your hand. Level 1, you play your climax combos, you play your suiciders. Level 2, hopefully you can free fresh. Level 3, just play these over and over. And since these are gold bars, they will go in your hand, so you can play these again next turn. And then just hopefully you can kill them with the Marcas. So yeah, that's my deck. That's the deck profile. It's really fun, really hard, kind of hard to play, but it's really rewarding if you can get it off. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned. Hopefully I can get like a match of this before I have to dismantle it, because this is not entirely my deck. The Kosaki's are not mine. So yeah, hopefully I can get a good matchup before I do end up returning my friend's cards. So yeah, that's my deck profile, and hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks.